Rockford residents defend the future of their neighborhood playground, meeting those who will decide its fate before a potential demolition.
And it isn't just one playground at risk. WIFR's Nathaniel Langley finds how the Rockford Park District handles expiring equipment across the community.
Alpine Meadows is just one playground out of nearly 27 reaching the end of its use. Neighbors near Alpine receive good news, though. Others may have to wait.
Little kids should have a place to play.
Families near the Alpine Meadows playground tell Rockford Park District leaders just that at a public board meeting.
It's all about individuals and families and children, specific people.
The last time I spoke with Kanabi, we were just off the play area with his family. Now, face to face with officials, he waits for answers.
We want to keep it at the top of their mind and make sure that they follow through with the wishes that we have in our neighborhood and our community.
The meeting arrives as the district pauses a planned demolition here this fall. Board members admit public resistance inspires the change.
They tell us how they want to recreate, and it's up to us to figure out how to execute that.
Since 2019, the district has sold or leased unnecessary property. Replacing 26 other old playgrounds could be part of another reduction.
Where it makes sense for us to reduce our footprint, we're going to do that. We're going to keep doing what our community told us to do. And then for others, we're just going to keep plugging away.
Once the comments end, officials and neighbors discuss picking their new Alpine playground.
It tells me that they're listening and that they're hopefully going to follow the wishes of us neighbors.
Other play areas may not have the same fate, but any decision about that won't be made alone.
This is your Rockford Park District, and it is your Rockford Park District, so thank you for those comments.
And sometimes the community says, you know what, I have another idea.
Part of choosing the next Alpine Meadows playground will include a community vote. Anyone, including kids, can choose what they want to replace the expired equipment.
Thank you, Nathaniel. And the Park District says it never makes a decision without community feedback.
Neighborhoods near playgrounds up for replacement will be notified ahead of time, online or through mail.